Hi, it's Mary, a traditional Chinese medicine tutor and an acupuncturist in Canada.
Today's video discusses the Soggy Pulse and Weak Pulse, which are similar in pulse shape, force, and momentum but opposite in pulse depth. Both a Soggy Pulse and a Weak Pulse can indicate deficiency syndrome, but the Soggy Pulse can also indicate dampness syndrome. Soggy Pulse.
The soggy pulse is a pulse floating, thready,
soft and palpable,
on light pressure,
impalpable.
and heavy pressure.
A soggy pulse has 4 features. 1. It is floating in terms of pulse depth, which can be felt by light pressure. If pressed a bit harder, the pulse becomes not obvious. 2. It is fine or thready in terms of pulse shape. 3. It's forceless in terms of pulse strength. 4. It is soft in terms of pulse momentum. Unlike the strong pulse momentum in full pulse, which is like a surfing wave, the soggy pulse is soft and weak in its movement. Sometimes the soggy pulse is called as a soft pulse, to emphasize the feature of softness of a soggy pulse.
The general metaphor used to describe the soggy pulse is like the bubble on the water, or
very light silk soaked in water.
You lightly palpate it, you can feel it, but if you press a little hard, the feelings disappeared. It's different from the floating pulse. Floating pulse is under heavy pressure, you can still feel it, even though it becomes forceless. You cannot directly find the soggy pulse. When you palpate, you feel, there's a feature of floating, there's a feature of thready,
there's a feature of forceless, there's a feature of softness. With
light pressure, you can palpate it. With heavy pressure, it disappears.
Becomes impalpable.
Under the heavy pressure, those features together, it's the soggy pulse. As I said, you cannot find one saying, oh, this is a soggy pulse. You have to use your theory to make your conclusion. Soggy pulse need a little translation in your brain to get that. But fortunately,
only 8 pulses
need this kind of calculation in your brain. About 20 pulses are straightforward presented. Having said that, we have ways
to get a multi-featured pulse.
The soggy pulse indicates various kinds of deficiency syndrome, but also it suggests a dampness syndrome. If there's an injury to essence and blood,
which cannot fill the vessel,
the pulse will be thready and weak
in response to finger.
If there's a qi deficiency and declined yang, they will be weak in preparing the blood circulation. Therefore,
the pulse is
soft and forceless. Deficiency of yin,
which fails to restrain yang,
will result in floating and soft pulse.
It's common to find
the soggy pulse in different kinds of deficiency syndrome, no matter it's a blood deficiency,
essence gene deficiency,
qi deficiency, yin deficiency, or yang deficiency.
For example,
it is seen in such deficiency syndromes as
metrorrhagia and metastasis, seminal emission, consumptive disease, and loose stools with undigested food residue. Metrorrhagia and metastasis can lead to
blood deficiency. Seminal emission can lead to the essence deficiency. Consumptive disease usually associated with yin deficiency. Loose stools with undigested food residue usually associated with yang deficiencies. All kinds of deficiency syndrome, you can see the soggy pulse. However,
the soggy pulse is also
associated with the excess type. It is when the vessels are obstructed by dampness. The dampness blocks the yang qi. The qi cannot go to the outside and feels weak. The pathogen here is the dampness. The dampness blocks the vessel qi, so the vessels become very soft.
Attention, please. Both the thready and the soggy pulses can indicate dampness syndrome.
Weak pulse.
Weak pulse, it's also multi-featured pulse. It feels extremely soft,
Thready, forceless, and deep. A weak pulse has 4 features. 1. It's deep regarding pulse depth. 2. It's thready or fine regarding pulse shape. 3. It's forceless regarding pulse strength. 4. It's soft regarding pulse momentum. A weak pulse can only be palpated under heavy pressure and not palpable under light pressure.
all this together is called weak pulse. So weak pulse has compound feature. If you take the pulse by the 8 elements, you're going to find a soft pulse, deep pulse,
Forceless pulse.
and thready pulse.
When you see these 4 pulse features,
You get a conclusion, say, oh, there's a weak pulse. Weak pulse is a name to cover
the 4 features. Weak pulse
suggests qi and blood deficiency, yang deficiency. This indication is straightforward. The thready and soft pulse appears when blood is not enough to fill the vessel. When the blood volume is not sufficient, the pulse will become soft and thready. If the yang qi is insufficient and powerless to promote vessel qi, the pulse is deep. It is favorable to see a weak pulse in a protracted disease. Think about this one. It's one of the techniques we use in the pulse. Just use common sense to think about that. People has a protracted disease, like a chronic disease, the pulse should be weak. That's common sense. If it matches your common sense, the prognosis is not bad because it's supposed to be that way. It's favorable to see a weak pulse in a protracted disease, but unfavorable in a recent disease. If it's a recent disease, by common sense, you know, the people's healthy qi
or 正气, vital qi.
should be strong. It's just an acute disease, a recent disease. You're supposed to have healthy qi. If you have a healthy qi, the pulse should be forceful. But now you see a weak pulse. That's not a
good sign.
Not a good discovery. When it does not match, it means the disease is unfavorable. The prognosis is not favorable. Here is the comparison between the soggy pulse and the weak pulse. Soggy pulse is superficial. In the superficial layer, light pressure, by lifting, you can see the soggy pulse, but the weak pulse has to go deep, using pressure to find it. But both of the shape of the pulse are thready, and they are all
soft and
forceless.
When both soggy and weak pulses can indicate deficiency syndrome, a soggy pulse can also indicate dampness syndrome.
If you find this video helpful, please give me a like, subscribe to it, and share it with others. See you in my next video. All the best!